Welcome to the final Arena Cast. The Mega Arena has finally come to an end, and we have a special show for you today. We'll be meeting with our top 2 players and talking about our predictions and see who got closer to what really happened. I'm Griffin.
Commander Koski.
Silist.
Cram.
Morgens.
All right, we got a full house here. We're going to jump right in and talk about what happened. We had 60 turns of chaos, of combat, of drama, of comedy, thanks to Koski and a couple of other things. I think this was a unique, fun experience. And I'd really like to hear what you guys think.
Well, I personally have been mentioning this quite a few times during our last, but I think this is a great replacement for the melee. And I do echo some of the concerns about if this will work as well if this becomes a league format game, because it might get a bit more serious. And what are the rules? The rules would be very important to see how the team behaves together. So to prevent something like we see in F1 rally formula, that we have these teams and we have separate drivers, but then they choose who is going to be the winner and who is going to be the rally driver who's going to help the winner to win. So it kind of messes the actual competition. So to prevent anything like that, to make it really work as well as this one, you have to make some thinking.
So, what's your initial thought, your final thoughts on the experience of this game?
I agree with Koski, but it's not that I would not focus on that much. I just thought it was a fun game. I mean, it was very brutal. Many people didn't make it to the end, but it was a fun experience with seeing everybody in a game which is not mentor versus midshipman. So it was a fun new addition, and it's always nice to see some new game types in a game that you know, like Planets. We play the same games, maybe with campaign, over and over again, and this is something totally else, and I think that's really nice to play.
Cram, what are your thoughts?
I think it was a great experience. I'm for a VGA Planets player with more than 11 players and 60 players in this little map, and so many actions, so many diplomacy, and I think it was a test, and we have to change something to balance the game. For instance, the wormholes change so much in the tactics and the practice of planets.
Morgens, what are your thoughts?
Yeah, obviously it was great fun. I enjoyed it very much, and I appreciate that we get new things to play and try around with. So that is obviously super great. But obviously, I guess today we can talk about a bit what didn't go so well and also what we would propose for later. Because for me, one thing that really stood out is the time. Daily turns took a lot of time, especially at the beginning. It doesn't matter that much. But then when we were fighting for the leadership at the end, the turns took quite a lot of time, and that on a daily basis was quite straining.
Well, I think that's your fault for having so much stuff.
That's true. That is very true.
If you left some of those planets to me, you wouldn't have had as much to worry about.
Yeah, to be fair, that was one of the most fun parts. Bullying Griffin, that was quite fun. I had to get my revenge because I don't know if you know, but Griffin destroyed like 3 of my MBRs in the minefield, so I had to come. That didn't go unanswered in my books for sure. But I guess you're also the only one that destroyed 3 of my MBRs this game, so it was actually quite peaceful for me.
I have the most effective anti-Morgens tactics.
Yeah, you can say so, yeah.
Well, I'll wear that as a badge of honor. Let's talk to Cram a little bit here about how this game went. How did you see this starting off for you? Like, what was your initial approach to how you were going to play the Horwas? One of the 3 Horwas. It was specifically limited so that there were only 3 of you. What was your starting thought process of what you were going to do, and how did it flesh out as you were going?
At first, for the wasp, it's very important to spread around the cluster and find planets with natives. It's nothing. If you don't find natives, you are dead in quite a short time. And therefore, I have sending out a nest to colonize the nearby planets. I'm very happy to have a planet with griffins that increase the speed of my pods to warp 6. But the environment of my planets in the very near area are not so good. They are too hot, and only 2 planets with natives. And I have seen that for me it's important to acquire the whole cluster. That was the reason that I have to kill Tay and make peace with the other neighbors. And that was my plan from the beginning. And I don't know if it's possible. The lizards can be a hard enemy for the wasp in the beginning. And therefore my action in the first turns was grow and get the whole cluster.
I believe you did that with quite a bit of determination. Koski or Sos, if you have questions, feel free to jump in. So did you find that your other neighbors were instantly open to the idea of not having to fight you?
No, not from the beginning. I have heard this. Some of my neighbors talk together to make an alliance to kill the wasp in his neighborhood, but it's not happened.
Yeah, actually, the original plan was for me and Joshua together to come and kill you on turn 20. That was our plan to move out, but then West attacked me in the south, so I had my MBRs stuck that were designated to tow Joshua's ships in your area, so then we decided, well, the crystal doesn't let us go, so we cannot attack you.
I heard something about that.
Koski, you got any questions here for Cram?
Well, not really, except that I was just thinking that how the peace negotiations went, and I just heard how they went. So there was a bit of a coincidence because this was, I think, the diplomacy roulette was bad luck for Joshua in this game. I mean, his first major bet was to make some kind of a permanent peace deal with Morgens and not kill him, and also the fact that he was now kind of forced to have peace deal with Cram. So
He still did okay.
He did okay, but he's not anywhere near Cram or Morgens in Planets. So
for my part, I would ask, were there anything, maybe, would you have done something different, maybe not keep peace with one specific neighbor to take him out, because probably in the end you didn't really have space to go to, but you had to use the wormholes, as I saw very well. But I wanted to ask, if you could do everything again, would you have changed something?
From the beginning, no, I haven't changed anything, because make peace with the privateer. It's for the wasp the important thing that you can do. I have played some game with the wasp against a good privateer, and it's a nightmare for the wasp. The privateer, they come, they rob your ships. The only thing that you can do against is protofields, and they come in the warp worlds with a good beams, scope your proto fields and rob your ships, and you are vanished in time. It's important to make peace with privateer. That's the reason because I'm making peace with Morgens was important for me, and also with Keiru on the other side of the cluster, because no privateer as enemy for the Wasp. And then it's the Wasp is growing, it's very difficult to destroy them, and it's not the simplest target. It's like the crystal. If you want in short time, you want to have many planets, then there are easier targets than a Wasp or a crystal, and that was my hope, that I'm growing fast, make a military score so that the other guys that think, oh, it's not so easy. I spend so much of my power to bring them down. I find easier targets.
Did you have any communication with the two other Wasp players in any attempt at coordination?
At the end, with Superschmidt only. We're talking about that I'm supporting him in his area against the rebel, and make it better for him in his position. But he do his job good against the rebel, and you see where he is. He has so much trouble. If you get in with carriers, with the colonies, it's also a nightmare direct in neighborship.
You did a pretty good job of coming back with
One-
3 planets.
I have one question about, do you think, Cram, that the Wasps are overpowered in this environment?
I have read the discussion in the game, and it's the same discussion in every game. The Wasp are overpowered. I think, especially in the arena, it's very difficult for the Wasp. You see everything. In a melee game, think about my waves of stingers. They're coming to you. When in a melee game, when have you seen it? Now you have seen it from the beginning, and you can arrange your troops, you can arrange your ships, you can defeat me. In a regular game, I love to send a planet killer. I'm stock full rock via escalator, and hits your homeworld, and your homeworld is gone. And now it's impossible to do this. You see everything what I send out. I think it's very difficult for the Wasp in the setting from the arena. And I don't think that they overpowered. On the other side, they have the many wormholes that opens new tactics for the Wasp. In the regular game, you can't send a hive away. It's not possible. So many full, you need to move the ships. And in this game, you can send an hive to a wormhole and be in a new area. You can enter this and spread there.
Did you use the swarming ability at all?
I have used it in the game. And Morgens has seen it. It was not my plan, but it's I take over some planets from him without planning. If you attack with the Wasp, it's important to get clans in the target area, and you have only the ships to bring the clans. And if you can move a hive, you can bring so many clans in the target area. If you spread, there are thousands of clans, and you begin assimilated by turn 1.
I'd like to add here that I also don't think that the Wasps are overpowered at all. That, for example, here, Cram did excellent because he's an excellent player. with Morgens, he played the best game. So they are number 1 and 2 because of that. But the thing is that with Wasp, it's easy to become strong, but against these good players, we had some excellent players all around. Against good players, it's very hard to win. So it's easy to get strong, but it's hard to win. So, for example, here Morgens, the privateer simply has better chance to win because they've got more mobility. They are able to flank and move around and everything, and they can stay hidden with the cloak. So I think that they are not overpowered at all.
Well, I'm not sure I agree with this assessment, so I just have my own opinion. I think it's quite impressive that you, Cram, got second place with like 60-some planets on your own. As I understand, you interacted with basically no one. You had peace deals, but no one was really actively helping you. Well, for me, on the other hand, I had like Möpa helping me from the beginning. I had Mapdot who was helping me. I had a peace deal with Joshua in cooperation with Joshua. So I had like 4 players helping me actively to get to that result. And well, the Wasp did it completely on its own. And I think that's also one of the strengths of the Wasp, that they can be defensive at every point, because just by being a planet where there were natives on or even enemy colonists, it's already a defended planet that can only be taken by a capital, basically, like a capital ship. So that's really strong. And at the end in the Mega Arena, I noticed starbases are actually kind of really strong in the Mega Arena that prevent you from taking things, because there's not many fighting ships available. So if there's a starbase or a strong planet in your way, every step of the way you will not get far at all. And I think that's something the Horus was really strong at, of no one really wanting to attack the Horus. Also for me, as a privateer, Cram said, it's really important to make peace with a privateer. Yeah, I can rob his ships, but the privateer can never kill the Horus because he doesn't have ships that can attack Horus planets. So I feel like that's the really strong point about Horus. They can be defensive at any point, at any time in the game. Whereas a privateer, I was depending on my peace deals. If Cram, for example, decided to backstab me or not honor his peace deal, I would have lost easily, because I had like 40 planets next to Cram that were all completely undefended with like 2 clans on them. No chance. If he tried to take it, he would have taken it without me being able to do anything.
So, in the conversation of are the Wasps overpowered in this scenario, is the unique rules of this scenario make them underpowered? No. I mean, obviously you did well.
No.
And Super Schmidt resisted multiple players, but missing your visibility benefits. Do we think that's a good adjustment for this game to maybe right size them for this environment?
I feel like the
it's excellent.
visibility is definitely a big plus to see Horus pods coming. And it's also not that frustrating if you can prepare like 2 or 3 turns. I feel like in general games, I'm really annoyed fighting Horus anytime, because it's just impossible to see the pods coming. So if it's not super late game and you have star bases everywhere where pods don't matter anymore, but in the mid game, pods are so annoying because it binds so much of your force, it binds so much of your lifetime as well, because you have to place your ships everywhere and see that no pod can slip through. Is really annoying. So visibility is definitely a good thing to make it less annoying to fight the Wasp. It's nerfing them, obviously, but I think it's a acceptable compromise in this format.
I'm thinking something about the overpowered Wasp, and I think if it's not possible to see the pods of the Wasp, it's terrible for everything. Like Morgan says, I send planet killers, and you see it by 25 light years away only, and they hit your planets and kill you, and you haven't the possibility to spread around and see all the areas where they come from. And therefore, in a regular game, I don't really understand that people think Wasp are overpowered and they have no weapon against them, but the Wasp are also slow. If I come to a planet, I need time. At the first beginning turns, they are nearly undefended. You can come and hit with a medium-sized ship and kill me from this planet, because I need time to get larvae and new colonists. I need time to get fuel. I need time to get defenses on the planet. And I can do only one action on a planet. I can send a pod, build a ship, and it's very limitation on the WASP by the number of planets you have. In a regular game with a normal race, you have star bases, set a ship in the build queue, and make other things on the planet and send your ships away and bring resources and all that things I do with my planet task. I have to send resources, I have to send pods, and I can't set ships in the build queue because I have to do other things. And if the regular build is triggered, I'm built not so much like other players. They have ships in a build queue in the starbase.
But one might say that for normal races it's even worse because planets don't do anything for a normal race as well. Every planet of a wasp can be productive.
I wonder if the visibility change is something to consider outside. I mean, obviously it robs the Horwas of some tactic, but if the Horwas are in a game type where they're not necessarily meant to be the mega enemy, maybe that provides a little bit of balance. I don't know.
Yeah.
You know?
Well, I think Morgens used a very good word there, the annoying. And I think that seeing them in any game would make it more pleasurable. For example, one of the facts that I feel like why the crystalline web nerf was a good thing was that the games are not as annoying as earlier when you have a big coalition that can freely move in webs and everywhere every place is full of webs. It becomes super slow and annoying if you are facing that, but it's that how pleasant it is to play. So in that sense it could be a great thing to do to add the visibility to other games too.
I agree with that sentiment. I've talked about it in PlanetsCon. I've talked about it. If you ever talked like one of my favorite games that I was the most successful at with the birds had a really good Wasp player. I don't think he's playing anymore, but Snork. And he had taken over half of the galaxy. Those turns took forever. I had to have picket ships everywhere. I had a couple of scenarios that made it that I was in I didn't face the Wasp till like the second half of the game because I was on the other side of the galaxy. But I had a lot of good variables that made it so that I come out on top of that. But it was after I played that game because it took so much time. It was the word I used for that game was tedious. I was like, it was my favorite game, like one of my favorite, best enjoyable games. But I'm like, I don't want to play with the Wasp. I don't want to play in a game with the Wasp. And when the Wasp came out, I played a couple like private games so I could understand the mechanics, which is really good advice that I could give to anyone. If you're going to play in a game with the Wasp, just go, even if you don't play a whole game, just go and understand how they spread and a little bit about their mechanics, and you learn so much insight to what they do. But it is that tediousness that made me not want to play. This is, I think, the first, maybe, yeah. Well, I might have had a small game with them, but this is like the first real game I played with Wasp since that game, and that was many years ago because it was so tedious. It was so time consuming.
So I would add to that. I think, Koski, you go ahead.
Okay, I just have to mention one thing that when we are talking about the Mega Arena and when we are talking about how each race got like 5 or 4 or something like that, and we have these 3 Wasps here, but from these 3 Wasps, they are all great commanders. I mean, they are all very high level and senior. In other races, there are a lot of more variability. There are less senior players and more senior players, but with the Wasps in this game, they were all great.
Go ahead, Silist.
And Yeah, for my part, I think what is important here, the wasps are a new race. So planets exist very, very long, and the wasps they just came in. For my part, I have never played without the wasps, so for me it's a bit more normal, because I was just wasn't born yet. But when I started playing planets, but a lot rounds I was playing with the wasps because I started playing a lot of melees. It was annoying, but to be fair, for my part, playing against the Crystals was also annoying because they had web mines, and I think we will say now, oh, they have pods and they can do this and they can do that. I think in the end, maybe they need a bit of a nerf, but every race has some special things they have, and which makes them very, very good, because otherwise nobody would play this race. And the only thing about the Hogwarts which is different is that many people don't really understand the mechanics because they don't want to learn something new. And now we have, like, I don't know, 30% of the people know how the Hogwarts play, and they play them, they understand them, they understand the positives and negatives, and if they play against the Hogwarts, they also know how to counter them effectively because they know what is bad. If I play the Hogwarts, what do I not want, and they do exactly this. And I think the point is just here, there are a new race. I think if the Hogwarts were in all the time and the Crystals just came in, you would say, oh, what is that? No, that's also overpowered. I mean, every race has these some points, and I think for this the Hogwarts are just, they're new and maybe they need the nerf, but I think they also can really have a part in this game. As Cram also said, with the planets, every planet should be used to build a pod, because then you can use this pod advantage. But then not every planet can be used to build a ship, and if the ship limit drops, then you can't build a ship. And especially here in the Mega Arena, where you only have like one turn normal, where the normal limit drops, because everybody builds, and then you have way more than the limit again. It is a very big nerf for the Wasp, because if you gamble on building ships and no limit comes, then you also don't get what you want, because then you don't have pods. So I think they do have the drawbacks, but if you fight against the Wasps and you don't know how it works, you don't see the drawbacks, because the drawbacks might be something just visible to the Wasp because you don't know how it works.
I think one point goes to Morgens. He said for the privateer it's not possible to kill the wasp, and that is right. He hasn't the ships to destroy the planets if the planets are developed. Therefore, you need carriers. All torpedo races without the Nova, with quantum torpedoes, have so problems to fighting full developed wasp planets with 25 millions or more clans on it. Then you need a carrier that can do the jobs, and it's good. And for the torpedo races, it's not so easy to go into the wasp. It's very difficult to do this because they are quite strong in defenses.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think we also we
Go ahead, Sus.
Okay, so I think we also talked about this. The big difference for the torpedo races is also in the beginning. You don't have Mark 8 torpedoes from the beginning, but the Hull Wasps, if they use Stingers, they do. And this is, I think, one of the biggest differences, because if you have a carrier, it doesn't really matter that much what beams you have on it if you fight the Hull Wasp. But for a torpedo ship, it is everything. What torpedoes do you have? If you don't have Mark 8, it's basically giving them free priority points or just free ships. And this is one big problem, because your main secondary weapon is, you have to upgrade it, so you can also, on a secondary starbase, not build the perfect ship immediately.
Koski?
I think Koski wants to say something. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that one that could help against those very strong planets is same thing that helps in Mega Arena against, you have visibility of star bases. So you don't attack the star base, you can take the other planet. So why wouldn't you, for example, make some other kind of symbol there on the planet if it has, say, 10 million clans? So if it has a lot of Horwasp clans there, then the symbol changes and you can see that it's a strong planet. Like, it could just get the same star symbol like a max base. So it could be seen by the other players that don't go there, take those other planets.
Morgan's complained that he wouldn't be able to take them because they have the ships. But I'm looking at his ship list, and I think he's got the hardware he acquired.
That's also a big disadvantage for the Wasp. I can't go and get Rush and Virgos and big ships like Morgens has. I can't set up my fleet with other ships. It's a very big disadvantage also in diplomacy. I can't not say I give you an MBR and you give me peace or anything else. I have to make deals with I'm strong. If you come in, you have to fight me, and it takes time.
I have one question for Morgens. Morgens, have you seen, Morgens, that my latest video and my recap of your play?
I actually have not. I'm so sorry. I just came back like an hour before we started recording, so I have not kept in touch. When did this come out? I didn't even know you made another video.
Yes, I made a recap of your play there, and I wanted to ask if you agree with what I told there.
Well, tough to judge for me right now, but
Yeah,
I assume
okay.
your coverage was great, so I assume you got it right.
Yeah,
but
it's
in between it was kind of funny though.
Now.
In the middle turns, especially with the Merlin plays, I messed up so much with Mopa together because daily turns to coordinate is really tough. We messed up so much, and one episode you spent like trying to analyze what we were doing, but we just messed up. It was just a complete shit show.
I think I supposed that in one of our arena casts.
Yeah.
Like, I think something went wrong there. Yeah. I'm gonna close off on Cram here. Give him one more chance to say one last thing when I focus on him, and then we're gonna go to our Mega Arena champion. Cram, any final thoughts on how this game went from your perspective, and anything you want to share before we shift our attention over to Morgan's?
It was a funny experience at all, I think, and thank you all that make this possible and bring new parts to our old game. And I'm also be happy about the performance from Commander Koski and make nearly daily videos about them. And it's also possible about the visibility. Without it's not possible. And I think it was great. Thank at all for that epic experience.
Excellent. Okay, on to Morgan's. My goodness, look at this climb here. It really kicked off for you on turn 37. What do you think is the most contributing factor to this massive lead that you had?
I would say diplomacy. Diplomacy is always like the most important factor. Well, as you said, if Joshua decided he didn't want a peace with me in the beginning, I would not win the game. He wouldn't either, because attacking a privateer is also kind of tough if you don't have Lokis. But that's the most important part, diplomacy and having reliable agreements with people, because if someone backstabs you, it will also end. As I said, if Cram decided, well, I actually want to win and I don't care about my agreement, then he would have won. There's nothing I could have done to prevent that if he, in the last 5 turns, decided to send stingers on all my undefended planets. Nothing I could have done against that. So, for me, I think it's definitely diplomacy. No matter what race you play, you need the time to build up, you need a peaceful neighborhood, you need to know which are your enemies, which are your friends, who you can rely on and who you cannot, and if you misjudge that, then you will lose, no matter the race you play.
What was your like from the beginning of the game, what was like your, like, here's how I'm going to approach this game?
Well, at the beginning, I didn't have so much of a plan. I was like, oh, this is super cool. I like playing melee. Let's jump in. And then at some point, I saw, well, it's actually... Well, I had some thoughts at the beginning about which race would be top runner in the game. That's why I chose Privateer and Wasp as my first 2 race choices, because I thought those would be incredibly strong. And I think full visibility and Privateers is insanely strong. Carrier races have a really tough time. Once I have wolf packs somewhere, they can't do much because I see where they're going. So it's tough. I see where they're defended. I see where it is what. It's really tough for some races against the privateer in that case. However, at the beginning, it's also difficult for the privateer because you don't have the ships to have a wolf pack to steal anything. I need this first carrier to be able to steal other carriers with it because just the amount of ships is very limited in the mega arena. So at the beginning, you kind of depend on your enemies making a mistake to get the ships. If they play perfectly, you will not go far ahead as a privateer either, because trying to rob a 1,500 kilotons fuel tank at the beginning, what wolf pack do you want to have ready in turn 20? It's impossible. So it always depends on choose your enemy right, hope they make mistakes, and then you go from there.
Silist?
Yeah, so I would say one thing very important, a Loki is always very, very good against the privateer, but here normally you would have your Loki on a planet, and then the privateer doesn't know where it is, then he also can't priority intercept it, and you can make sure your Loki is hidden. I mean, we have in the Planets magazine, we have this one Loki logic. I read it again and again. If I forget it, I use it all the time, because you want to get your Loki if you're in space, you just put no fuel in it, but then you're on a planet, and then you can just push forward because it's not visible to the privateer, because he can't priority intercept it without seeing it. But now he can see everything, so he can always priority intercept it, because this means your Loki is always in danger. If it's not in a warp well necessarily, then he can always intercept it, and you can basically not use it, because without fuel it's useless at the end of the day. And I think this is also a very big point, because the Loki is a very, very, very big threat against the privateer. It's a ship that doesn't explode when it detects a cloaker. And for the other part, we also have the minefields, which are good against the privateer, but these are also visible. So the privateer, the one strong part of him is being hidden, and he is still hidden, but the strong parts of the minefields that have to be, you have to sweep the mines first, and you can't sweep if you keep your ships cloaked. But now you see them anyways, and you know where to go, and you know where the Loki is at, and you know where to intercept it maybe. So the privateer, I think for the privateer, it's a very strong change to see everything, but still not be seen that much.
I fully agree. Especially also seeing where enemy mine layers are. So even if you see a minefield, you know it cannot get bigger, so I can move my ships without any risk onto the minefield. So full visibility is incredible for privateers.
Except for Koski's Opal Tees.
True. But I was also surprised.
And just to pull
Sorry.
Cram back into the conversation, I mean, Cram, I know I solicited your services to light up areas of space. It didn't actually get there, or I didn't get to use it, but I wonder if that was a tactic that other people use. Hey, Wasp, can you send something over there so I can see all their cloaked ships?
I have talking with Chrome about that, and he have take my rocks and tower it in his area, so the rock will stand and make the privateer visible, and it's happened, but it hasn't stopped Morgens.
No, it didn't.
Chrome has seen all ship from Morgens the later part at any time, because he have the rocks in his warp fields around the planets. You have towed the rock.
Morgens, who was able to resist your charms to take their stuff? I mean, like you describe a scenario that seems like the perfect storm. How can one stop you?
Well, West was actually my arch nemesis this game. West has stopped me from turn 15 on. I was fighting with him, and at the end I was still fighting with him without ever touching his core. I think it was kind of a unique situation. It was kind of a unique situation there, because Möper tried to invade West as well, but ended up donating his whole fleet and several hundreds of quantum torpedoes to West, so that helped West push back into me. It was a fierce fight, and I did not enjoy fighting crystals in this setup, especially at the end when they merged up with the Ulki and Domnos, so the Fed and the Com that I was fighting. They joined forces with Wesp, and one thing I didn't consider in the Mega Arena, full alliance works, so you can make friends go through your webs, and that is really powerful, which I don't know how many full alliances you get, but they were flying through each other's webs. One, okay. and that is quite powerful in this setup as well. And I think no one really rated Crystal that high because of it, but I think if it turns over to a league game, Crystal will be one of the main contenders if you play a team game, because it's just so annoying to get through. It just stops everything, and also you don't have the fleet really to set up sweepers everywhere. But mines, you produce the resources anyway. You don't have priority builds, but you can lay more webs with the resources you're producing, so it's very powerful, I think.
Koski, Sus, questions for Morgens?
Well, what to add there, that I just have to mention that West had that aggressive crystalline tactic. That worked extremely well. Also, Liftrasker, who was in down south, he did surprisingly well. I think he was also in top 10. And he was fighting against Tomako and Robber Baron. He was fighting against two Privateer and Ho was working together. And the way how he did it was that he was really aggressive. He was moving totally against them. Whereas as I just noticed, like I mentioned, that when you be defensive crystal and you use small minefields and everything like that, they just keep vanishing and you just have wasted your time and movement using ships to do webs that go away. So it's not very useful. So you have to know how to use the crystalline.
Yeah, so for my part, I think I would just ask the same as Cram. Do you have anything that you would say you would have done differently? I mean, it's now apart from the little things when you mess up with daily turns, that I think that's a part of the game, that you can't do every turn as much as you want. I mean, for my part, I remember I was on holidays when there was this turn 35, and then I looked, I just finished my turns really quickly. I didn't really look into it. Then I looked at the scoreboard and was just completely confused. How is somebody up there that high? Because before we had like a bit over 25 was like the peak, and immediately I look, it was like 50 planets or something like that. It was really crazy. But I mean, apart from that, it was a great round for you, of course. But would there still be something you would have done differently?
Um,
Oh, sorry. Was it to me or to you, Cram?
To Morgan.
Okay.
to Morgan, sorry.
I would definitely, I think now seeing the result, not do the peace deal with Cram and do a peace deal with West instead, and still take the route and Joshua and me attacking Cram to take him out, because he's the second contender now. And I really dislike fighting crystals, especially as a privateer, so that was annoying. I would rather fight the Wasp together with my robot ally. That would probably be better.
Your robot and crystal ally.
And I think
Yeah.
Cram wanted to add something there, what he maybe would have done differently. Maybe he had some second thought on that.
Yeah, if I don't make peace with Morgans, then I had so many planets around me that I can spread. But I didn't do that. I am not backstab. I have thinking about to bring a hive in a position and swarming.
So in the end, both people would have been happy with not having peace with each other. So probably we should have just let him fight it out.
But one thing, Cram,
of the ages for sure.
I have a question for you, Cram, though, because I saw you were setting up some hives, but I was wondering, why didn't you swarm them at the end, just a few turns earlier? Because all these Jezemaru planets, there was like 20 planet clusters, and I always counted them already as your planets, but you didn't end up taking them. What happened in that area?
I'm in peace with Jezemo and Keiru also. At the beginning, I have the information that some robots and some privateers, supported perhaps by a crystalline, wants to attack me. And therefore, I have made peace on the other side very quickly, so that I get an arrangement also that I become support from this side if you attack me. And that was an important move, that I called a friendly privateer on the other side to get some ships from the robot in my area. and that was a move that I want have to do. And at the end, you haven't attacked me. You make peace with me, but it was not sure until turn 15, I think so. And therefore, I have to set up peace with another one. And then we talk about some planets, and I take over the amorphous planets and build up the defenses. And on the other side, I have talked to you. Please do not come to Jezerimu's area, and that keeps Jezerimu in the game because they are in a relation between planets and strength. He was not so good. Like Silith, you are also have so many planets, but not so many power, and that are my first targets. I look at the scoreboard and look how many planets I can get from from which player with not so much military power, and there are my targets in the list. That was the reason why I came to the wormhole to you.
But
Yeah, I mean,
that's actually. Sorry, go ahead.
I think it's a very smart strategy because for my part, I was not really. This game was not so much attention. As I said already, I was in my high standard. I tried to get there the best outcome there. And for my part, I'm okay with somebody attacking me because I always like a bit action. And if I had like, I don't know, I had like 4 T-Rexes and some of these Saurian heavy frigates. I thought they would be stronger. They weren't actually. They're not that good. But next time I will probably pick some other ships. But it was nice to have some ships attack somebody, have some less ships to command every day, and then also some less planets. So that was kind of nice for me because in the end I had like 9 planets. I could just click through every of them, and it was quickly done the turn because I didn't really want to spend too much time. And I also did not really understand why nobody attacked me in the first rounds because I was spread it very far on the nebula because many of the connections were like only I had to go like 3 turns to get to 3 planets away. It was very far apart. I could not defend every point there. I didn't really understand why nobody attacked me because there were so many people around me that could have benefited from it. But yeah, I mean I got attacked in the end, but yeah, still. I think it's a very smart strategy to go for the military score per planets and then attack who has the lead.
Morgens, what do you contributed to just blasting off on turn 37?
I mean, I wouldn't say turn 37 was a specific blasting off point, but it was just a setup. You know, it takes time to get rolling. At the beginning, I was concentrating on building a fleet. I did not leave my cluster much. I took out Dragon and got his rush and his command ship. But otherwise, I was building priority points. I was building Merlins to then keep building ships after ship limit with priority points, and then the fleet builds up, and then it just gets rolling. I don't think there was a specific turn where it said, this was the accelerator that happened. No, it was just building up, building more ships, getting more ships, and at some point the enemy can't withstand you and you just roll over it. Especially with most people having quite tiny fleets, having 1 or 2 carriers. Once you have 3 carriers and 10 MBRs in their area, they cannot do anything and just take all their planets. So that was just the cumulation of building up early. But I wouldn't say there's a specific point where everything changed. I have maybe a question for you guys, because at the moment I've been also talking to the people in my league team that I played with now. Would you play in the current state if it would exactly release like that as a league game? Would you play in it?
Well,
Koski, you want to go first?
That's of course a great secret. We are competitors, but of course, definitely, because I believe it would be easy to play it, because if it would be introduced in the late of the season, and we've got many players who have already their games over at that point, so we have players available, so why wouldn't we have multiple players there going? But of course,
Yeah.
what will it would look like? It's very difficult to know what the rules are and how we should be playing it, so forth and so forth. For example, this game right now and how you were playing was a bit like what I mentioned, that F1 rally formula game, that you were the Michael Schumacher there on the lead, and then the other teammates had to just push him and help him win and keep the others rally cars behind you.
Yeah, so yeah, I mean, Koski and I were in the same league team, so the things we talked about, we talk about together. But we also said, I mean, if it's extra points, I mean, it has to be extra points probably, because if it's going to the 3 standard games, you will probably have better chances in just taking, let's say, 20 standard games, and surely from some you will get a good standing. But it's also, I think it should probably be on top than the points. And we said we will just see if who wants to go in there, and then we will just go in there and we will see. And it's just basically every point you score is another point you have at the end. And so, I mean, I really like the idea personally, because I played the last melee. I think it was the first time we actually had a melee in the league game. Yeah, I remember. I think I played with Super Smith too. He was a wasp too. I remember we had a lot of wasps there, but they got they got targeted a lot, and yeah. So I think their Blonde Hans and me were the last hot wasps alive, because I mean I also just tried them in some training games, and then I wanted to try them in League Two. But it was very fun to play these big games with many players. We will have to see, because if one person goes in there without a team, he has no chance if he looks at a team with 6 players from the same league, of course. But I think for my part, I will probably take part, and we will not will not say as many how many people we are trying to we will have there, because it's business secret. But yeah, we will see then, and I think it can be really fun. Yeah, we will see how it will turn out.
Cram, what do you think?
I think it's a question of the power of the league team, and if you have a powerful league team, then you are like Michael Schumacher, like Koski says, and the other guys push you and brings you to win this game. And we have this scene in this game very good, like Morgan does. He have the power, he have the league team, and he do his jobs, and he can win the game. I have played also with the guys out of my league team, but it's it's like a team game, and a team game with 3, it spends so much time, and it's a daily team game. And if you coordinate the things, the guys in your team has to have the time, and it's really a problem. You see in the league season how many 3-player team games we have. I think 1 perhaps, and it's so time consuming, and you have thinking about. And in the daily daily turn plan, I think no, not so many teams will do this.
Koski.
Yeah, and I just have to mention, here is a paradox. It's just a bit like what you mentioned to Morgens about, it was his problem that he had so many planets and ships. But the thing is that, of course, you have total control, 100% control of your own game and how much you use time for it. But when we introduce competitive environment, it's just natural human behavior that we tend to push ourselves to the limit. And because it's possible to increase your efficiency by pushing more time into it and doing more teamwork and more communication, everything like that, people tend to do that. And so it becomes a burnout automation machine. So the mechanics should somehow made it so that people don't choose that route so that they don't burn themselves out. There is one game which has been stopped and ended by the admins on Planets.nu, and that's that invitational game of 2-player teams where Joshua took part, and it was full of emperors. You can find it from the history. It's an awesome game to look. There was Emork was playing with one player, and ISOT and Joshua were, and SMN and Dungeon Master were one team, and it was an awesome game, but everybody burnt out there because it was 2-man teams, and even if it was a lone wolf game, it was team lone wolf game. So there was no diplomacy even, but still they all burnt out because it was so intense. Because everyone wanted to win that game, because they were the best of the best playing against each other. So you really have to put a lot of thinking there, how to make the rules and the mechanics so that people won't burn themselves out. This is like some kind of a labyrinth where there are so many cheese rewards around that the mice kill themselves by eating themselves full of cheese. So
I know the reference.
or something like that.
Yeah, I know the reference.
Mm.
But that was exactly where I was going with my question, because at the beginning it's fine, obviously, but once you're in the lead, you have to spend the time because you don't want to lose the lead. And especially after you made so many videos about me, I was like, oh, I have to win this game now. There's no way I can lose now. So I found this very straining on private life, because daily turns, if you have work and afterwards you want to do something, suddenly it's 10 p.m., but the host is at 11 p.m. already. So you do it on your phone quickly, and that's really annoying. And I also talked to my teammates that if you have to interact really in the league setting and everyone wants to get good standing because it matters for your league team, then daily turns will be very, very straining. And I heard a lot of people on my team saying, we don't want to play a league team game with daily turns. That's impossible for being compatible with life.
Silist?
Yeah, so I think one important point here is with the coordination. I mean, we are doing a Planet arena cast every once a week, and we are 3 people, and still sometimes we don't manage to get together and make the arena cast. So we have a time there, and we all have time because it's Sunday, and then we spend 1.5 hour. But imagine now you have to get every day up to 11 people in one call and talk about it, because I think per text it's not that easy to do. If you have a big arena and there's a lot going on, you have to talk a bit, because maybe player 1 has to interact with player 8, but player X has also to interact with player 4 and 5, and then you should probably do a big call. This will take a lot of time because everybody has to say something, and I think it will get quite hard. But on the other hand, if many players don't come because they think, no, this is too hard, especially from the big teams, because they still have a very high standard game going on, and they say, no, not right now, it's maybe a good point. I mean, let me just check real quick. It's still a pretty close game for the championship right here. We have like Imperial Shuttle. We are on place 6, but even up to place 7, there's only a difference of 13 points to place 1. So there's a lot. It's like the early turns of the arena. There is a lot. I forgot the word, but you can go up really quickly, and maybe even a team that is not that high up can now maybe spend a lot of time. For example, the Shadowhawks can just go into that game with everybody, and they will focus very much, and they will get a lot of points, and they will suddenly come to first place. And I think this could be a very good chance for somebody who is not that completely in the top 3 right now, for example, to get up there and maybe make a difference there, because I think this could be a very good opportunity if it is on top of the other points.
Do you guys think the league version of Mega Arena should limit the number of players from a league?
I mean, who should I start?
You're already going. Go.
All right. So for my part, I think we should probably give it a bracket because I think it has no point in sending one single player in there because this would be just almost impossible because everybody would look around. Okay, who doesn't have a teammate? Okay, we will kill this guy. Easy. You're dead. If you don't have any teammates, you can count on 100% because nobody within the league team would backstab each other because it would just hurt themselves. But if you go to another league team and tell them, oh yeah, can I please join you, they could still backstab you just to get these some more planets and actually win the game. So I think there should maybe be a bracket of 3 to 6 players or something like this. So you need some teammates there because otherwise it will be impossible. Probably you should look at how many players apply per league team, and if let's say there are 6 league teams who have 7 players, why not let all of them play? Because if there's enough, that's fine. But if there's like one team that has 11 players and everybody else only has 2 players, of course you should not let 11 players play this one game because they will just absolutely dominate it. And I think you should have to get like an average per league team player, and then you should do a bracket of maybe plus minus 2 to 3 players around that count. That would be my proposal there.
Yep. Oh, on the other hand, the standard scoring for like a melee game in League is already kind of self-conditioning because there's an average. So if you join with 5 people, but 3 people lose and 2 people win in the scoring, then the average will get very little points for the league team. So I think that's already a kind of a good solution for the scoring. That okay, you join with 10 players, but it's likely 2 people will die. So then your average league scoring will be not that high because it takes the average planets in account, not the highest.
Cram?
I think it's the question of how much time you can spend in this game and how you can bring your league members to play this game. You have a live. Like Morgan says, I have the same problem to come at home and think, oh no, it's late. I make my turn. I'm so good. I don't want to lose.
Yeah.
And you need so much time, and the Wasp is so time expensive if you play them well. And now it's my last game for summer. I don't start one more game because my family has talked to me, and now they came in and say, now it's time to you have children, you have a family, you have a life, and I don't want to lose them. And if I play this in a league game, it can happen that I'm not born out, but then I'm alone at life.
Koski?
Well, yeah, it's very difficult. So, like I mentioned before, we had that discussion if we are doing fun or competition, and we are now fun or sports, and this was fun. The Mega Arena was fun, but when we introduced that sports there, well, let's see. Joshua has been very innovative. Let's see what he pulls out of his hat.
Yeah, I agree with that that outlook, Koski, of fun versus competitive. I think the league version of this will have a very different. I think it will be a different experience. Uh, I've not played a lot of melees. Very early on, I was playing a melee and I did not enjoy it as much, but this one was a lot of fun. There was, I mean, I was I got to sit on the top for a while, and I was like, why am I up here? Like, because I'm kind of middle road. Like I'm pretty good at some stuff, but I'm not like I'm not I'm not at Morgan's level. I'm not a super player. Uh, but I think it was interesting to feel kind of the pressure, but also have the fun of just like, let's see what happens. I mean, at one point I was like, let me just send my fleet into Koski's space because Cram's keeping him busy. I'll just come in the other side. And I was pretty mad at him for taking half of my stuff from me, half of my plans. He actually only got away with, I think, 2 ships from me. But it was just like, let's have some fun. I mean, what's the worst going to happen? I'm gonna get killed off. I mean, I didn't have my reputation at risk like Morgens and Cram, where they had all this pressure to perform. But I was just like, let's have some fun. So I think when there's pressure to get those points, it's going to be a different. Silist.
Yeah, so what I wanted to add for my part, I think if we do the if arena for the league team, the conversations about the Horwas being too OP, now it's a level on, oh no, the Horwas, they're so annoying, so OP. But if it's like actually, if it's actually serious in the league game, and for example, one team, I don't know if it will be possible, but joins with only Horwas and wins, then everyone will be mad. That shouldn't be allowed. That's unfair. And I think this could be a bit of a problem, that it will bring a bad mood there. And this could be a bit of a problem. And I mean, for my part, I'm used to doing a lot of turns because I mean I'm still in school, so I don't have too much to do. I can always look on my phone. I'm used to doing. I think I do like 90% of my turns on my phone because I like it a lot more. The little UI there's a new update which made it a bit smaller even. So I know for a fact my father does not see anything anymore because he tried to play there too and it was just too small. He could not read it at all. But yeah, for my part, I really like it because, for example, if I sit in the bus for the school, I think, oh, right now I can just do my turn or I can do parts of my turn. I'm always really spontaneous. I just do this because I feel like it and I don't really think about it a lot. I just do what looks funny. And so for my part, I think I could manage the turns. I think the problem is getting in touch with other people because, for example, some league teams maybe have some from the USA and then some from Germany, some from maybe Russia or something like this. And it will get very important to get everybody online at the same time. And I think this could be a bit of a problem. And for my part, I really don't have much to do on the day. I don't have 8 hours of work, so I could really do it from the time period. But I think I don't have the vision of the people who really have to work already. I don't know how that is if you have, for example, children. I mean, that I can't really relate to that. But yeah, I think we will have to see. As I said, it can be really a opportunity if not many people join there.
Okay. Well, I think the experience is. I mean, I know there's some people who didn't enjoy it, and there's some people who have some thoughts about it, but I think it's been a very positive thing. Having talked with the admin team about it, uh, we're pretty pleased with the outcome, and we're very very grateful to Koski's contributions. I think he definitely played a big role in how this was experienced by the people playing it, and perhaps even people not playing. So I definitely want to give a big thanks to Koski for his near daily contributions. I loved watching him use AI to make humorous title and ending slides. If you guys haven't listened to the final song, it's a banger for sure. I would listen to it. We probably need to get it like on iTunes or something or Spotify. Uh, but yeah, that's great. I think it's been well received. I think you know what, Joshua was the one that came up with this idea, and I think it, you know, speaking for him, I think it accomplished what he wanted to accomplish. So I hope you guys all enjoyed it. I think we definitely enjoyed everyone's contribution to it. Morgan's bang up job. Should be really proud of yourself because yes, 60 turns of intense chaos. Um, it's demanding, but I hope you don't regret all the time you put into it. Good. And we talked a little bit about wormholes, and I think wormholes were a defining factor in this game. and I don't think that they will go away or change significantly. So I think that's just going to be part of the reality. I mean, at one point we kicked around calling it the Chaos Arena. So, but Koski has now probably officially branded it as the Mega Arena, and that will probably end up sticking.
Yeah,
So-
yeah. I just I have to mention about the wormholes one thing that adds to the fun, and that's that in a normal game, and it could be easy to be in a situation that you kind of peace block yourself and you are stuck and you can't really move, or you are Horvas, for example, who is slow and you can't move to any of your neighbors. So it kind of adds to the game that you always have something to do and somewhere to go. So it's great thing to have those wormholes in a game like that.
So at this point, I'll go ahead and give both Cram and Morgens a moment to say kind of final thoughts, and we'll start with Cram. What you might want to share about this experience, and any thoughts you want to share. This is your moment to own the mic.
Okay, like I have said, it was fun. It was a great experience. It was a funny game. I love it. I love Koski reports. Show it my family. It's a guy that talks about me. It's so much rubbish. I show it him. It was funny, and talking about we play a game, and it makes fun, and it was fun. I love it. More of them, but not daily, please.
Morgens?
Yeah, I can only join Cram. It was fantastic fun, and it's great that we try new things in this super old game. And I feel like it's really important, and also with Koski's contribution and your contribution, Griffin, that we keep the community together, because it's not a massive online player base where we have 2 million players, but it's a small player base, and that's personally also the charm why I really like the Planets community, because you know the people. You get to know the people slowly over time, and you enjoy playing with a lot of people, even if you don't end up on the same side. I have good conversation with the people. For example, I was bantering quite a bit with Vest during the game. We were enemies the whole time trying to kill each other, but that's the fun of it. And I feel like these kind of things bring the community together, and that's why I think it was super great.
Excellent. Well, Morgens, Cram, thank you for joining us. We really appreciate it. You carving out some time to come on the last arena cast of this game. And so, again, thank you. And I bid you adieu.
Thank you very much. Bye-bye.
Thank you. Bye.
Okay, that was a great segment with Cram and Morgens, and it was really great to have them with us. We're just going to wrap up with a recap on our predictions. So, pretty early on, we talked about, and I think we even revisited it at some point during the arena cast, of what we thought would be the outcome of the Mega Arena. So, we decided, or we discussed and made predictions of how many players would be left turn 60. Our initial guesses were Koski said 20, Silist said 23, and I said 25. And then we actually revisited this again later in the arena cast, and Koski stayed at 20 players left. Silist upped his a little bit from 25 to 28, and I rounded up to 30. But we were all pretty far off. The number ended up being 40 players left, which is impressive, although a good chunk of them probably were just sitting really low here at under 10. And it gets really kind of a thick middle field in like the upper teens to lower 20. What do you guys think contributed to that difference in outcome from what we predicted?
I'd say that the biggest difference was that we had a lot of players who really had no idea how to approach this game. So they kind of came in to see what's going to happen, and they didn't have much of a fleet, and they didn't dare to move anyway because they kind of just kept to themselves, and that made them a bit of a more passive. And that's just what you mentioned, the very long middle field there.
So that's what do you think?
Yes. So from my part, I think it's also the 60 daily turns. Maybe in the beginning, some players said, yes, I'm going to rock this. I'm going to do so good. And after like 10 turns, they realized, oh, with looking at the spectator view every time to see everything and then checking the scoreboard and then sending all the message, I will calm down a bit. I will not do that much. And then they probably did less and less and just finished their turns in the end because they got a bit burned out by so many ships to manage every single day.
Next, we talked about what we think the planet count would be of the leader. We can see that Morgan's got himself 94 planets. In our first round of prediction, Koski predicted 80. Silist predicted 64. And I came in at 100. So closest. But then in our second round of predictions, which we did, I don't know, probably about midway through the game, if I recall correctly.
Yeah, I think it was at turn 30 we had one planet cast. We did it again.
Koski read the board and said highest planet count's going to be 50. Silist stayed at 64, and I caved and dropped to 60. So none of us at turn 30 saw Morgan's. What do you guys think contributed to our downsizing, except for Silist staying with 64? What do you think contributed? So let's go ahead.
So I would say probably for my part, I said 64 because I like that number, but I thought at the beginning, yeah, it looks good, and I think we really expected a lot to see there, but we also expected somebody to really get a steamroll, to really roll over everybody and then get a lot of planets, and we saw Morgan's really built up a lot, but he didn't really let us see how he built up. He didn't take that many planets immediately, but he did it then at 35 and then continuously took more and more. So he built up for a long time, but he was like a Fed who only builds freighters at the beginning, and you say, oh, that's not a threat, but it's all just novas without weapons, and you don't see it coming. And I think this really contributed to that because I think the leading person at turn 30 had like under 30 planets, and that's why we really went down with our expectations there.
What do you think, Koski?
I also went down because I was thinking that the competition would be more bloody. I wasn't really thinking that this would be this kind of a all-stars game where people are so gentlemanly, because I was thinking that if, for example, Morgans takes such a huge lead, he would have those planets he can't defend so easily, so those would be easy prey for others. So, but they didn't do that. They didn't fight that fiercely and so bloody.
Yeah, at turn 30, I mean, the highest planet count was. So I don't think we saw it coming. We did not call that one right. Initially, I think we were closer, Koski and I. We were guessing what the highest combat in one turn. And spoiler alert, it was the last turn because that was utter chaos. Everyone making last minute grabs. Personally, if I had not attacked two planets, or attacked two wasps stingers come in, I probably would have ended up with two more planets at least, which would have made me not 10th where Koski was trying to get into, but maybe 9th or 8th. But 228 combats in the last round. Koski, you know what the next highest planet count or combat count was?
I didn't
I want to say
check
it's
the
like 100.
latest turns.
I think it was like 130 or 140 or somewhere, maybe 150. Anyway, so Koski predicted that the high count of combats in one turn would be 100. And I don't think we had this prediction in our initial, because we only did it, I think, at the midpoint. And so said 55, and I said 60. And boy, were we wrong. I think the chaos that is the Mega Arena definitely said, I'll take your 100 and I'll double it. Our last area that we discussed was which races would be represented in the game. Ended on. In our first round of prediction, Koski said the top number of races left in the game would be the crystals and the bots. Silist said the bots and he said carriers, kind of like a cop out, pick one. We'll let it ride. And then I only gave one, which I said was going to be the birds, because I thought they were going to do quite well in this. Boy, was I wrong about it. I mean, they didn't do bad, but they did not perform in the way that I thought they would have. In our turn 30 predictions, Koski predicted it was going to be the feds and the bots. Silist predicted the birds and the fury. And I picked the comms and the... And what it turned out to be, and I think this might be a little bit surprising, every fury player survived. Some by just like one planet. And so they were the top represented. And it was the feds were the next most represented. And I think that's interesting. Now, this isn't accounting for the number who joined versus who died, but every fury, we had 6 furies and they all survived. And I don't know that a fed died. Did a fed die?
No, I'm pretty sure no one died. It's also because, like, who wants to kill a Fed if you can refit your ships instead? If you say, I will leave you alone if you refit every ship, I think.
And I think they became
peaceful.
I think as the game goes, they are not as soft of a target the more time they... So what do you guys think of our predictions?
So I would just begin here with the combat recordings, for example. I would just wanted to say that because especially you see there a Horwasp has a lot of planets, then he will try to get a stinger off at every single planet. And if he has, for example, 60 planets at a realistic point where he can send off a stinger to every planet before the game will end, then he will get 60 combat recordings just for one player. And I think this is what maybe we overlooked a bit, because they will try to build a pod everywhere and they will see, okay, I can get it. If I build it like in turn, for example, 54, I would barely reach it there, and they will try to get just a light stinger there everywhere just to get one more planet. And I think we a bit overlooked it there. Everybody tried to grab some, but especially these pods of which you send out a lot, and many get also defended by the players because they want to intercept them. That's because we see that's like the rise of combat recordings we see right there in the end. But yeah, I think that's my part there.
Koski?
Well, yeah, that's pretty much true. I was thinking that maybe it will be more even, so the rise of the combats would be more like this and not like we had a steep curve.
Agreed. Well, gentlemen, this is our last time together on the Arena Cast for the inaugural, the initial, the first of the Mega Arena. Now's your time to give some parting thoughts on how the game's gone, the Arena Cast, talk about Koski some more. Just chance to give some final thoughts. Sos, you want to go first?
Sure, I would just say I think it was a very, very fun edition. As we said a lot already, it's nice to have something new in an environment, a bit of a new, fresh breeze of air there, to have a new game with all the old rules, just something like a new little update there. And I think it's very nice. And I think the only big problem players had with it, except for the Hogwarts, that has nothing really to do with the game itself, with the game mode, and it's even better for so worse for the Hogwarts. But I think the biggest problem was, for example, was for most here the daily turns, and I think this should be something to be considered, that we could maybe change that, just 2 days per turn or something like this, to get a bit more place to breathe there. Because if you have that many planets and you don't want to skip over every single one, you really have to put a lot of time and effort there every single day. And I think this is nothing you could keep really up there for a lot of turns.
Yeah, and I'd like to say that Planets really could do some more with the spectator sports side of the game. And this was a very bold and innovative approach to it, and it worked really well. And I can say that from the commenting part of the game, we also have been improving all the time, and I'm sure that if we get another Mega Arena, we'll make it even better.
I agree. Koski, do you think you could commentate on a game you're not in? Like, if there was a Mega Arena and you weren't playing it, do you think you would still be able to give the coverage, or do you think being in the game, the
Yes,
three of us being in the game, is a factor in our ability to?
well, not really. I could comment because I love Planets, and the thing is that I actually tried some years ago to comment, do some textual commenting to an Emperor game, but the players pretty quickly sent me direct messages that I'm interfering the game too much, so they didn't like it. But the thing is that it actually could be easier if I'm not in it, especially if this would be a league format game. There could be a too big incentive for me to try to
Influence
turn it
the
into a
outcome?
propaganda show to my liking. Yeah. So I would be very happy to do this kind of new stuff, but maybe even better if I wouldn't be in it. Yeah.
Well, for me, I think the Mega Arena has been a ton of fun. I think one of the things that I really enjoyed about this game was the variety of ships that you don't. And I think that really kind of brought some life to some ship lists that isn't normally there. And I would love to find a way in other games, maybe smaller games that are, like I do a lot of private games that I host or whatever, or not private, but like, my own games that I generate. And I'd love to find a way to replicate that scenario where you can still have a fun, dynamic game where people are getting to use parts of their ship list that they don't, but you still have, you still can bring out the heavies, but the smaller ships can have a bigger impact. Um, and I would say it's been fun watching the politics, so the chaos. It's been fun just trying to figure out what people are doing and what's going to happen. And I had a blast. So if we have nothing else, I mean, do you guys have anything else you want to say before we sign off?
I think it was very nice to have this arena cast here to recap everything a bit. It was nice to talk about it every week or almost every week. And I think it was also a nice addition just for the people who weren't in the game anymore but wanted to know how it goes without analyzing everything themselves. But I really liked it. Had a good time here. Would do again. Would recommend.
Koski?
Well, I echo that sentiment. I'd actually would like to get to hear more about the people who didn't like it, because I haven't heard much. But I know there are some, but I would like them to elaborate a bit, maybe why and what should be improved here. But if the target is fun, this was fun. And as I mentioned, I forecasted that some great players win this, and I wasn't wrong at all.
Yeah, they should be saluted and acknowledged for their masterful play. I mean, you take a game that has decades of experience in playing in certain ways and you throw in this massive curveball, and you can still see quality of player is, I think, the defining factor of it. But even if you look at it from like the ones who did really good, I think a lot of people, even those maybe that who didn't, rise to the top. I'm hoping, I think, it was still a fun experience to be there, to be watching it happen, to be affected by it, to not be affected by it, to do your own thing. I mean, there's so many players in this game. Like, I think if we didn't have Koski's daily reports and we didn't have these weekly arenas, my worldview in the game would be like this small. Like, who's next to me? I mean, you could take a perfectly good example. If anybody goes in and looks at my turns, and you pay attention to when I change someone's color from red to something else, that tells you how big my worldview was. It's a very trend, because I didn't color everyone in my game, but if you got a color, that means I was paying attention to you, or you mattered, or I was worried about what you would do. I did color all the Horwasp very early, but like if you go, it's a fun thing. If you go look at my turn, you'll see like, oh, look, Griffin was now paying attention to this player. And it starts off really kind of like tight in like who's in my area. So I wonder if anybody else did that, but like that's kind of how I did it, because I mean, you got daily turns to do. You could spend all day looking at what everyone's doing. I couldn't do it. I counted on you, Koski, for that. Your daily reports was how I paid attention to what was going on somewhere else. I mean, I cannot sing my praises of you enough of how wonderful those daily reports are. I think you should be really proud of what you did. I think it's been really good, and thank you for doing that. And thank you for adding such a great flavor and color to the game. And thank you to the two of you guys. I've really enjoyed spending my Sunday mornings, your Sunday nights together talking about this game. It's been a lot of fun. I haven't slept in on a Sunday for a while, but but I want to tell you, it's been great working with you two on this. So thank you from me to you guys both for your contributions. It's been a lot of fun. Koski, it was great facing off with you in the game. You really came in and messed up my world, and I was quite glad that I can return the favor.
Well, thank you too for hosting the ArenaCast every week. So, I mean, that's what you did, and cutting everything together, making everything presentable, and hosting the Planets.nu YouTube channel, because without that, this all wouldn't be really possible here.
Final thoughts, Koski?
Yeah, well, indeed. I think the communication part is something that people have been wishing for. It's got multiple dimensions. It's other things also than documentation, but also like these videos and everything and community. And you started it with the Planets.con actually online, and those has been awesome every year, really bringing community together. So you are doing a great job here.
Thank you.
I hope to see lots of great stuff like this in the future.
That's my goal. So, final thoughts?
I would also add there, I would also really appreciate what Koski said, a very good addition to the admin team of Planets. And I think, yeah, it was fun. It was fun.
Excellent. Well, I think at this point we'll do our final sign off. So, I'm Griffin.
Commander Koski.
Silist for the last time.
And that's been your ArenaCast.